by email or giving us a call. We'd love to get you in there. Next up, that's it from occupational, but I'll stay up here and read a quick brief description about our presenter, Mike Marshall. For over 16 years, he has been noteworthy instructor at the Utah Safety Council with experience teaching OSHA, first aid, fire systems, fire science, behavior safety, industrial hygiene, building and health safety, and all of our MSHA courses. He does a great job on all of those. He's distinguished himself as an expert in his field. He has navigated many titles with ease, including Senior Loss Control Consultant for the Utah State Division of Risk Management, Utah State Deputy Fire Marshal, Volunteer Firefighter, Rescue Team Captain, State ADA Physical Access Specialist, Industrial Hygiene Specialist, and 30 years as an EMT. Mike currently works at as a safety officer for Abandoned Mine Closure Program through the Utah Department of Natural Resources. So let's give it a hand for Mike. He's going to be giving us a great talk about mining. So we'll have him come up here.
All right. Is the presentation up?
There we go.
Okay, there we go. So we got it. Since I can't read with that, my eyes are not good enough to read that right there. I'm going to read this right here in front of me. So ain't no way. Plus, I'm assuming the camera's right there, right? Okay, so I'll turn slightly to where I can see the camera as well. All right. Thank you, everyone, for inviting me here. It's always a pleasure to speak with the people out there in the public that are doing the work, also with the people here that do the fine work at Utah Safety Council. Starting with safety is an everyday thing, and there's only two important things to me that when you come to work. Number one is start, number one is go home. That's it. Everything else in between, you got to earn a living, you got to do some work right there. But going home at the end of the day is still the primary issue when it comes to safety. But you can't have safety without production. You can't have safety without environmental concerns. And so my presentation today will be in three different levels of that. First of all, starting with safety and environmental. We've had multiple environmental tragedies in the United States associated with mining over the years. Most of them have been pretty well erased at this point. We don't have nearly as many. Every mine has to be environmentally conscious if they're going to do some work. Now, safety on the job, we'll try to get with that. Statistics. Are we having a good year so far this year in mining? No, we're not. It's maybe the worst year we've had in the last 30 years for singular accidents. So we're up to 35 fatalities. That is excessive for any year total, much less for 1 year at this point. We had last year 29 total in the year. We're at 35 right now. So right now is not the premier year for us in safety. It's something we have to stop and take a look at. What is it? There's multiple applications you can talk about that. I think the youth of the new miner coming in is an issue right now, because about 30% of the people that are getting hurt or killed in mining are within their first 2 years of application to either the job title or the mine that they're working at. So there is definitely some correlation between the two. So beyond that, we're talking about production. If we don't produce, we don't have a job. Mining is a supply and demand industry. It isn't there for best practice. It's there to supply the needs of industry. It's as simple as that. So if we understand that element of here, we have to be out there in the marketplace all the time. All right. So, okay, I'm pushing. Wrong one. Oh. Yeah, I can get mine to move, but did yours move with it?
No, it does not. You're gonna have to use the clicker.
Okay. All right. It went on its own that time. All right. Okay. Number one, as I was introduced right here, I've been working actually for the Safety Council now for a little over 18 years, working in different things, clear back when they were down on 53rd South. I mean, it was a lot of transition over the years, but it hasn't modified the goal. And the goal is very simple. Promote health and safety by providing education, service, and products. And we are all, as instructors, just extensions of that. We want to make sure that we give everyone what they need to make them safe for the workplace. Now, that starts at your home. It's the start of the workplace. It starts in your home, on your way to work. It starts everywhere that you're working within industry. All right. So, yes, as far as, different type of certifications, I'm a certified mine safety professional, private business safe work essentials. I'm a certified instructor, Part 48 trainer, and I'm signatory to the Safety Council's training plan that is registered with Hampshire under Part 48. All right, now, this is the only test you're going to take today, but I want you to be very careful with this. Take a good look at it. Uh-oh, is anybody seeing it? Oh, there we go. Mine's showing. Is yours showing? Okay. Not working? One more time. Okay. Let's back up. There we go. Selective attention. So you're gonna have to answer two questions here. Watch carefully to pass this test. Number one, how many times is the football caught? Answer. Dan, you got it. Halfway home. One more portion right here. Look carefully at the screen. So much going on right now in here. How many times do these people jump? Now then, how many got 20? You were 20 and 10, you're a winner. But one more thing, I told you there's a lot going on. During the second presentation, while they were jumping, did you notice the other house in the back was blue when it turned to green? I didn't ask you that. I told you there's a lot going on. I didn't ask you that. In the first example right here, while they were jumping, I was having more work about carrying it. People were playing basketball. There was basketball. Children, there was a hoop. It completely disappeared. While you were counting how many times it's caught. Now then, why? Because I asked you to do a singular thing. That's it. And the fact is, there were multiple things to do. Okay, so mining is the same situation. I walk into an environment, and I have to think about production. I have to work about safety, but I also have to think about environmental concerns. There's too many things going on to focus on just one element. It has to be a combined effort. And in every one of the different presentations I do, think about what's going on in all aspect of it. You can't be focused on just one. Big focus to me over the past years is the fact that mining has a terrible reputation. That's a reputation for environmental inconsistency, for waste site that's left abandoned. I've been part of the abandoned mine project in Utah for about 6 years now, trying to close down the waste sites we've created in mining. Is the reputation continuing in the future? We haven't had an abandoned mine since 1981. Congress passed acts to eliminate that potential right here. But we still have over 500,000 abandoned mines in the United States right now, currently in process, get closed. So is it reputation or is it valid? It's valid. We've earned every drop of that. Can we cure that in the future? We better, or we won't be in the mining environment, not in the United States, because it can be supplied by foreign markets very easily. All right, so we have to really be. So what do we look at? Our history. Number one, the history. 50 years ago, as of 2 years last year, we had the worst mining disaster environmentally that we've ever had in the United States. It was called the Buffalo Creek Mine Disaster. Now, I was stationed doing work twice in West Virginia for a year at a time. And I was looking for things to do. So I went to look at this. I heard about it. I went to look at it because I wanted to understand environmental consciousness. So in the 50 years that they had been mining at that site, they had never had a waste dam. So they built one to take the contaminated water away from it. Unfortunately, the dams broke and ruptured on a Saturday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. 125 people were killed. And here, how many of them were miners? 0, not one. There are people in their homes having breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning. No one's going to work at that point. What happened? Between 62 and 72, 3 dams were built on the upper Buffalo Creek River up there to control waste. They were trying to be environmentally conscientious. Honestly, they were, but they filled up. They didn't empty them. They just kept filling up. So they built another one above that one, another one above that. Finally, on December 26th, they ruptured after a severe rainstorm. Approximately 550 homes were taken out, equal to about $340 million in devastation today. Okay, so because the downpour, that rupture, they went away. Down the river came in 15 minutes a wave of 130 million gallons of water. No one was notified. No one was told about the devastation. Nobody was prepared for that. So what happened be further right here? Immediately after that, all these people were unfortunately died. At the time in 1972, there was no MSHA. MSHA, the law, the Mine Act of 69 had been decommissioned in 1970 because it failed miserably. So we had no control agent. All we had was one thing. That was the Bureau of Mines, which was later turned into MSHA. But Geological Survey and Bureau of Mines put together a task force to find out what has to happen. Now, again, no rules. It really couldn't be challenged that way. So what did they come up with? Impoundments constructed by the coal industry are designed to acceptable dam safety standards. Specific problems like presence of workings had to be adjusted. Construction is carried out to an approved plan. Now, that was later commissioned as a rule in mining. So there's nothing in mining that we have as rules for safety that was not done under strict duress. We lost people, we lost lives. Now, if you really want to get a crux of anything, back up, sorry. Moving too quickly here. You've got to look at the scene. I went to the scene and I saw this plaque right here. And I've seen a lot of headstones in my day, but nothing stirred my emotions more than this one ever has, I don't think. I read the names of people that had nothing to do with mining that lost their lives because of our neglect. Right here. So have we earned it? I got to the end of the right-hand column where it says missing baby boy, missing baby girl, missing baby boy. And the 9 people that were never found. That is our history. And you can't get away from it. Not today. The only way to get away from it is to make a better future. And that's what we're trying to do. Did we do it better? Consistently. So today's environment. Are we still learning from things that have gone on? Tailing ponds are constructed now to take all kinds of water. Nothing can get off the mine site, whether it's native water, whether it's processed water, no matter what, it has to come off clean and pure. Now, the perfect example, if you ever get along the Ochre Mountains, along the Bingham Highway, and you take a look to the east from Kennecott, and you look over there, you're going to find 7 different dams built down in there with concrete weirs and places to isolate water. If any water from Kennecott, the biggest producer potentially of water and user of water here in our valley, if it gets away, where does it end up? In the Jordan River at a 1% grade. It would fill it up like that. So the control measures have to be enhanced. Absolutely. And they're probably under strict duress more than anything else, any other mine around. So what did we learn about this? Again, we learned under fire in mining. We look at every nation in the United States, which we'll be looking at in just a second right here. But here is what happened in Brazil that really stirred our attention. This happened 6 years ago. This is a mine site with a dam, an impoundment to collect waste, and it ruptured. The company said they inspected it the day before, but at the time of the fatality, it said there might be as many as 100 people missing. And here the company had suffered another tragedy like that, similar about 2 or 3 years ago before that claimed lives of 19 people. This one, when you totally got through it all, claimed the lives of well over 450 people by a dam embankment failure. So do we have these still around the world? We don't need to see it in the United States to have the emphasis. The town of Benito Rodriguez, you see that boot that looked like Italy right up there? That is the impoundment. But the impoundment ruptured and it hit the town of Benito Rodriguez without warning. And this is the devastation. It completely turned that into a river and here wiped it back out. That is the town of Benito Rodriguez with hotels and everything buried under the mass. The workers from the U.S. from MSHA went to that site and said what went wrong and investigated. We don't need to see this happen in the United States. It can be in any continent, it can be anywhere for us to learn. And that's exactly what the international mining community is doing, learning consistently over there. And it did make the earth to the ocean, which made about as big an environmental disaster as you could possibly find. Right there, it took years to clean that back up. Now, what was the cause of the issue? This gives you a bird's eye view. This is an impoundment right here. It didn't fail at the top. It became liquefied and kicked out the bottom. Okay, so it wasn't the fact that the stored material was there. It never became solid. And the company never structured it in any way. So we have two rushes of fluid, one liquid waste, one sludge mass moving behind it. And both of them moving downstream at a rapid pace in here. So it wiped out. That killed 6 people at the site and down the river, well more than 450 people. Okay, so further on downstream, we had the railroad out. The railroad out, you can see the dust going down the canyon from the richer water flow. And then you see the sludge mass coming over and people still there right in front of the run of the oncoming sludge. Right here, even a guy down the valley was just looking for high ground and he's coming up the road right here. Nobody has a way out. Train become encumbered. Everything was wiped out right here and buried. Now, truly, the gentleman coming in right here, the guy in the white truck, both survived. They stayed between the masses and got pushed up because like a cork and pushed back up. They get buried. Either way, they're done. They get pushed back up and they both survive. My grandson was in Brazil for 2 years, spoke fluent Portuguese. I brought him over to listen to it. After 5 minutes of listening, he said, "You know what, grandfather, I've never seen anybody more excited or mad." There wasn't 2 words in that whole dissertation that was not swear words. He said, but that's how you'd feel in something like that, right? Well, did we learn? Yes. So here is what we have as today's, different button. Here's what we have found. Okay, so impoundments, dams are integral parts of mining. Their structures are used to impound waste or water for mine use, control runoff, prevent flooding. Near faulty design, construction operation can lead to a failure of the dam embankment and or the containment system, resulting in the release of liquid or liquid-borne solid waste. Show the safety of miners and others, MSHA personnel regularly inspect them under code 30 CFR 77.216. Impoundments dams classified in the US in 3 classifications: high, satisfactory, significant, or low. Now, currently in the United States, there were up to 4 years ago, 1,640 dams. Every mine that is in existence has a water control measure somewhere. Too much water, too little water, some one of the two. You're going to have a control measure there for environmental concerns. What's the integral part of it? Keep it no more than 20% full. That's the way we do it. We control it completely. Every drop of waste coming to the mine through process or natural water flow has to be controlled. And that's the living, that's what we have found today. Did we learn it by example? 100%. Now, truly, in our list of 1,640 dams, there's actually only about 1,280 right now. Hurricanes buffeting the Gulf of Mexico have taken out the water control measures down there year after year after year, one after another. So we don't have very many high level dams anymore. We had one in the Western United States, which was ruptured by a government control agency about 8 years ago that made the Gulf to the Colorado River. And most of that material is still laying in the upper Colorado by now being cleaned up systematically year by year by year. So did we learn from the past? Yes. Are we better for the future? Consistently, no question. Now, does mining really matter? Yeah, it does. If you can't grow it, you have to mine it. Simple as that. It's the famous saying that encapsulates the imports of minerals and aggregates both in the modern world. For every building we enter, to every road we drive, to every device we use, virtually everything contains some amount of metal, mineral, or construction aggregate. Now then, if you're driving on a road to and from work, it doesn't matter whether it's gravel road, asphalt, or concrete. Does it all come from mining? 100%. Okay. We did I did a speech up at the University of Utah at the Eccles Coliseum last year up there. Wonderful facility right there. A guy asked me the question. He says, how much of this building comes from mining? About 94%. Okay. Now, so if we want to live in anything other than a grass hut, we're going to have some implications of mining, because that's all that there is out there other than that. So is mining an integral work, a portion of any industrial process? It is, truly. And I want to share that with you today. Material world, of all the minerals and material we actually make in the United States, all of them are going to a useful purpose. Now, so far last year, we put out about 106 billion tons of material. United States, 3.2 billion tons were produced in 2019. That's 3% of the overall production. Now, minerals and metals like that are such a small amount. 4.1 billion tons of cement alone was made. So the aggregate industry dwarfs everything else. But as you mine more of it, the cost is less. As you mine less, the cost is more. I mean, what are the precious metals worth? Significant amount of money. Right here, we don't have to get very much of that. Whereas we get sand and gravel, a common process right here, we're not getting much out of the element. So when we look at the aggregate industry, it's going to dwarf everything I'm going to show you today about metal on metal, but metal on metal is what runs the industries in the United States right now. So we really need to look at that. So how many pounds of mineral, all encompassed, does one person use in a year? 10,765 pounds of stone. Now, remember, when I give you these numbers, we've got to divide the number of people in the United States by the amount of aggregate sold or mined or used. So it's going to come out huge numbers. But this is just your share, 10,765 pounds of stone, 7,240 pounds of sand and gravel, 685 pounds of cement. State of California uses more construction sand and gravel than anyone in the nation. Why? They build more big buildings down there, and that's why you see this big numbers. Clay, 145 pounds, 385 pounds of salt. Iron ore, 275 pounds, 165 pounds of phosphate to fertilize your lawn, 35 pounds of soda ash for glass and for detergents and all the things we make from that. Aluminum, which is the most highly processed metal outside of the United States, other than iron ore, which dwarfs everything in together. Copper, lead, zinc, manganese, and 25 other metals, 584 pounds of non-metals. Now then, along with that, as a mining resource, 3,553 pounds of coal per person. Now we're mining over 1 billion tons of coal a year in the United States. Is coal going out of existence? Hardly. It's still there and it's working really, really well. Coal stocks are going up rapidly right now. We're trying to diversify. We're trying to do better when it comes to energy type of allowances right here. But the realistic view of it is it takes conversion. It takes time. So we're going to be stuck in coal. Natural gas will take it over, but we have a wealth of natural gas in the West. We don't have a wealth of natural gas in the East. So it's a different philosophy altogether. All right. Now, sheer numbers. Worldwide, about 1.8 billion tons are coming back out of the world right now, and it's rising steadily from 84 to 2000. It's not going away. Where's the most coming from? Asia. China by far and again the biggest producer, but I'm going to show you some other slides right here that make you think a little bit more about that. When we took a look about where the big producers, China number 1, US number 2, we escalated to the number 2 position about 3 years ago. I'm trying to keep up with 2 slides, so I don't have to turn around so much right here. So are we doing better in that? Yes, significantly. In tonnages. Now, when you want to equal everything, tonnage means one thing, dollar value another. So even though we're looking like we're way behind in this, and specifically in iron ore, because we desperately need more iron ore in the United States, it's the number 1 thing that we're running out of right now. And if you look at supply and demand and cost versus pounds, it's significantly, it's gone up 4 times as much in the last few years. When we put that into dollar value, now we start to look like the rest of the world. Right here, dollar value, even though we're not putting as many tons, the market value of our minerals is higher. So we're coming much, much more even with China in a lot of different ways. And yet what we really have to look at when it comes to what we use versus what we mine, can we be independent? And the answer to that is no, not right now. And that's the danger of mining right now. If you look by regions in the United States, Arizona is the number 1 mining producer. Now that's counting construction aggregates as well. It's not just looking at your metal non-metal world. That would be Nevada in here. So every region will have a different type of philosophy, but each one of those in the red, that's over $11 billion worth of mining asset put into play in that right there. Industries that use non-fuel metals created an estimate of 3.64 trillion in value added, jobs, processes, and products. So is this a major industry worldwide? And it's maybe probably one of the most profitable ones worldwide. U.S. metal mine production 21 was estimated about 34.7 billion, 6% lower than revised year in 2021. We were coming back and coming up right now. Oh, I forgot. Oop, I'm pushing mine and I'm not pushing yours. You're going to have to look at me. I saw some concerned faces out there. Good thing you guys are sitting in front of me. I'd get lost. So what does that really mean? That right now, copper, 33% of the total, gold, iron ore at 15%, which means it's the number 1 commodity value in the world, and yet we're only getting 15%. So what are we doing? We're having to import That's the only way we can keep up. Zinc, moly, 13 minerals made over $1 billion in crushed stone, cement, copper, construction, sand and gravel, gold, industrial sand and gravel, iron ore, zinc, salt, phosphate rock, moly, and soda ash. Top 10 producers: Arizona, Nevada, Texas, California, Minnesota, Alaska, Florida, and our Utah comes in 7th. I mean, number 8. So we're still staying right there in the crux of everything that's going on. Where do we use some of these minerals? Copper, for example. It's used in building construction, infrastructure, industry, transport, and other type of areas. Are we a major supplier of copper here in the state of Utah? Yes, absolutely. Thanks to our good partner out here, Rio Tinto, right here. So there's no question that is a viable. And one thing that makes copper very unique, it's 100% recyclable. Okay, it loses no value, no consistency, it loses no product. So if we could just keep it and reuse it, we wouldn't have to mine anymore. Okay, but that's not going to be the case. Why? Because in the world we're moving. What else are we moving at? Global energy transition require about substantial increases. Battery materials, lithium, nickel, cobalt, manganese, vanadium, graphite, 450% in the next 25 years. There is a mine of lithium and cadmium that's opening up in Nevada right now. It's well behind its time. It should have started a long time ago. Environmental concerns and challenges are really hard slowing them down significantly right now. But they're just about ready to go on here. Of them right now, 100% of the stock in them are owned by 2 companies, Tesla and Ford. Why? Because we can't have electric cars without batteries. It's simple as that. It's one of those supply and demand industries that's really, really viable right now. Rare earth minerals. How many people have heard of rare earth minerals before? It's not a big area, is it? Right now. Fact is, I'm going to show you a list of them right here, but they're vital. And guess what? We only produce about 0.1% in the United States. It's all foreign market. So there's no way we can get away from foreign trade. Of your battery elements, lithium, cobalt, graphite, you can see how much is made in North America entirely. Less than 1% right here. We're totally bound by the world market value on this. And if we can get mines like out in here, Nevada, and put them together, will that put us on a more even plane? Yes, we need to be self-sufficient. So mining isn't just all about producing elements, being sufficient as a country as well. The good thing is mining is a tradable commodity in every nation. It's something that can bring in labor. It can help us to get to the end result. Lithium alone, right now, where do we get all these battery components from for lithium? Australia is number 1, Chile, China, Argentina, Brazil, in that order. So we do have good trade relations with most, but they've been strained in China. Gallium is a mineral a rare earth mineral that is only come about 98% comes from China. And simply because trade restrictions were put on them, they slowed down what's coming into it. So you'll see LCD computer screens and you'll see things like that really jump in value if we can't find out some type of trade relationship with that company. So we can't be self-sufficient. We can't stay on an island for very long or we will not float. Okay. So rare earth minerals, 50% of them were import reliant. Of the 50 that's most common, right there, 43 of them were import reliant. So do we need them? What are they made for? Read the last issue right here. Magnets, electronics, industry. Some other minerals on the official list right there: arsenic, fluorspar, indium, magnesium, which we use for a variety of applications like the production of alloys, semiconductors, along with manufacture of electronic components. LCD, it's the electronic industry that's going to be compromised if we can't keep this flow of mineral coming back in. This is a new world in rare earth. We finally just opened up our very first one in the United States, by the way. Okay, so lithium. Now, I'm not going to read all the rare earth minerals. Why? Because my tongue starts to twist in my mouth. I can't get any of the words back out. So you can read them if you'd like to. What are they really made for? Petroleum cracking, fluid cracking, catalysts, metallurgical additives and alloys, glass polishing, ceramics. 40 pounds of rare earth minerals are found in the hybrid cars, right there, from the braking systems to the magnetic motors and rechargeable batteries. But 85% of global production is in China. It's almost relying completely on rare earth metals. So we really are at a stage where, international trade has to be considered. Anytime we do anything that will hurt our economy, we can challenge someone else's right there. And this fair trade market that has to be resolved and kept going is really the critical component. You can see how many of our different really needed materials right there are 100% reliable on other countries, clear down into aluminum, which is the most #1 industrial process metal other than iron ore, comes 75% reliant on other marketplaces to do that. So we're not going to really we're not coming out of the woods yet, and we have to stay with these good relations with foreign markets, and some of them are challenged. Right now, the United States is the safest market to build in. 4 states are in the top 10 of the safest markets to build in the United States when it looks to world mining. #1, Nevada. #2, Arizona. #3, Idaho. #4, Utah. It has to do with with the production. It's safety of the workers and the industry itself. So there's a lot of features that are looked into that. Of all the metals, you can see that iron ore is the #1. After that, industrial metals, and then technological metals. All those are really taking a major focus in today's world. But if we're going to keep building our structure and everything that goes along with our industry, we have to keep up on all of those. So of the main components, you can see that iron ore dwarfs everything. Industrial metals next, and technological metals. They seem to be coming up at a lesser volume, but the price value is significantly more right in here. So the money values don't change a whole lot, even though the amount of commodity does. Why do you do so much mining of iron ore? Well, because it builds infrastructure more than anything else. Industrial metals. So industrial metals are a little bit different. They're largely used in steelmaking, construction, chemical manufacture. World mined over 181 million tons of these type of materials. After that, you can see that aluminum is #1, chromium, copper, manganese, zinc. All the different materials clear down into magnesium, which is a huge alloy with when we look at the different types of steel that we're manufacturing. In your tech and precious metals, they're used in technology devices compared to industrial. Usually mined in a smaller scale. You can see faster development, consumption as it goes on up. #1, tin, all the way down to our battery components right here, our precious metals, all the different things. But batteries head the list on all of those type of materials. Just be in mind. Okay, so push the wrong button again. I'm terrible at buttons. Construction, sand, and gravel. How's it doing? By commodity value, it doesn't show a lot of differences. By total sale volume, it's huge. That's a map of wherever they're. California being #1 and Texas #2. Right now, Texas is the #1 leading mining state in the United States. It took over from Minnesota just a year ago. So Texas is mining everything. It's the salt capital of the United States. It's some dimensional stone. It's coal. It's crushed stone. Now, construction, sand, and gravel and crushed stone are 2 different animals. Either they both come from the same looking pits, but they're kind of different and diverse. One of them is a natural product. The other one has to be processed and sized, through crushing process. They all look about the same, though. Look at this right here. You wouldn't know the difference between crushed and stone, but we're crushing all of this up here to make materials like sharp products for stemming material and blasting, and 3/8- sharp rock we make in asphalt. You put round rock, like we're getting these piles over here in asphalt, doesn't hold together. Okay, it breaks back up. So everything is specialized to size and consistency. All right, there's always a process area on sand and gravel, whether it's a cement plant or asphalt, but everything is mobile. Everything moves. It's short term. There's nothing long term in this industry. Okay, construction metal. What are the most common ones that we have here? Oh, back up again. Got to keep up with mine. Okay, it's the highest tonnage of extracted minerals, the greatest number of companies, employees, and the largest turnover. Typical aggregates, we got sand, we got gravel, we got crushed stone, we got natural stone, clays, gypsum, natural ornamental dimensional stone for monuments and special buildings and our capital buildings, things like that. So this is a huge industry. Dimensional stone alone makes up 31% of all mining in the United States. And it's a sub-district of the sand and gravel construction mineral industry. So you can see that when we look at precious metals and coal, things like that, they're in the Part 48 rule. Right here, the 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 construction minerals and agri industry dwarfs everything else in mining. Coal is doing well. Yeah, 50%, 60% of electricity generated in the United States still comes from coal. You know, will natural gas take it over? Yes, it will to a point. But our demand is growing faster than we're opening up the different properties. So coal is still staying there as a, you know, wicked stepsister to the environmental consistency of everything that's going on right now. But with the advanced cost of natural gas and the fact that we get more energy out of coal than natural gas in the burning process, coal's going to hang in there. There's no question. Uranium would take it over, and there are plans right now to build a uranium power plant down by Green River, Utah. It's past its environmental challenge right now. Now it's just water. How do we get the water there? So what are the 10 most mined minerals in the United States? Number one. Nope, it's this one. Number one is copper. Yeah, from construction to dentistry. American industries, all shapes and sizes, rely on a variety of minerals, resources from on their home turf. So if it's in airplanes, roadways, it doesn't matter. It all comes from our industry. Copper, number one in the United States, the most diverse. Copper is employed in building, construction, wiring, tubing, even thanks to its antimicrobial type of properties in medical equipment. Arizona, Utah, Nevada, New Mexico, and Montana are the bigger one. Feldspar. How many people know what feldspar is? That's why I put it up here, so I can read it right. It's a rock forming mineral. Has particular importance to the glass ceramics industry because it acts as a fluxing agent. This means that it reduces the melting temperature of quartz, thereby helping to control the viscosity of the glass right here. So if we're not don't have that, we don't have bulletproof glass. We don't have specialized glass. We don't have fracture resistant glass. That's what feldspar does. All right, number 3 on the list, lithium. Batteries, most important. But it also comes in making vitamin A in here. So applications of production of aluminum. You know, it's one of the most needed minerals we could possibly mine. And state of Nevada, for their operation out there to try to get going, $2 billion with commitment from Tesla alone right there. And the current administration in our nation right now is giving out up to $35 to $55 million if we can show process improvement in mines in the Western United States. So there's a lot of money out there. It's not something that's going by the wayside. It's getting bigger. Silver, it's a really good metal. We see it mostly in our coins and in our jewelry and everything, but water distillation, mirrors, fast chemical reactions, storage. We got a lot of different bases for that. And then gold, like its copper and silver cousins, gold is an incredibly diverse range from dental compared to satellites, precious metal of a crucial component of microchips, monetary systems, and even the battle of cancer. So we've got so many different things that we rely on here. Iron ore, still number one. Okay, without iron ore, we wouldn't have steel, and without steel, we wouldn't have the fabric of our nation. Fabric of our nation isn't anything that's organic. Right there, it's infrastructure. And that's what's the biggest need, and we don't supply our needs to the level that we need to, simply put. Lead, if it wasn't for the state of Missouri has the biggest lead concentration of any state in any place in the world. You know, so it's a primary aggregate that we can pick up here, and from soundproofing to X-ray and gamma, it supplies those needed things in industry. Nickel. Really, it's all about making materials stronger, right? From guitar strings, plumbing fixtures, and equally important in chemical and aerospace industries. Okay. Now this one right here, I get a kick out of beryllium. Anybody know? Do we mine beryllium in Utah? One mine in Utah, Spore Mountain, puts 85% of the world's beryllium out on the market, and that we do have. So that's ours. Right here, and we're not giving it up. 2 things in Utah that we mine more than anybody in the world: beryllium and gilsonite. Gilsonite's only mined 2 places in the world: Vernal, Utah, and Iran. So we are the home place for at least 2. That's not a lot, but it's something, right? Molybdenum. Does Kennecott produce molybdenum? Yes, significant amounts. And even in the application of taking out the waste sites out here by I-201 over there, the 201 freeway out there from Magna all the way around there. They will make money in taking and getting rid of those waste sites. So pump it all in the pit when they're through mining. They'll bring out tellurium, they'll bring out molybdenum, they'll bring out trace minerals, and they'll make a profit at every stage, not just development, but also on the recovery stage of it. Right now, there is an issue to me that shows so much good conservation and good process management. Kennecott is going into about a $500 million project right now to take the topsoil to the south of the pit, which is the future development area, and not just putting it out and storing it for later reclamation of the pit. They're moving around on the face of the pit right now. So they're leveling all the face, put it into a slope that can control vegetation, put all of the material there. You'll be seeing a forest on the face of the pit now. Now under it'll be waste rubble, just like we see around the granite over on the other side of the hill right here. But this environmental money that's going out there isn't just being put to waste or put to private industry. It's made for the public in here, and they're putting it out there in large scale, bigger than we've ever seen before. So there is consistency going in mining that has taken a big swing from political and from negative aspect to just going into our environment, making everybody in the world feel good about this. Copper is run by of all the 5 major components right here. Copper does oh, I got to show you that one. Copper, that goes into, I'm not sure. I'll push the wrong button again. Okay, copper, Arizona. Nevada's gold, crushed stone, Texas, construction gravel material, California, and in iron ore, we see that in Michigan and Minnesota. So of the different places, every state makes some money. 4.1% of all mining aggregate, that's Utah right here. So we're holding our own extremely well with some very diverse type of mining disciplines right here. And it is the second safest place to mine in the world here in our own state. So does that bring us a good wealth of good feeling? It does to me. And costs of mining. So what costs has mining propelled itself? Because there's always going to be a cost. Is it going to be environmental? It's going to be loss of life. I think more in here is the loss of life. Now, little video real quickly, if we get it to play. Okay, so this is mining right here, and this is miners' rights. You know, we have a huge industry, and it is slightly dangerous right here. You hear that okay?
It has always been tough work, and it can be dangerous. On November 20th, 1968, Farmington number 99 disaster in West Virginia claimed 78 miners' lives and led to the passage of the Federal Coal Mine Health and Safety Act of 1969. But mining tragedies continue. On May 2nd, 1972, a fire. On May 2nd, 1972, a fire engulfed the Sunshine Silver Mine in Idaho, and 91 workers lost their lives from smoke inhalation and carbon monoxide poisoning. On March 9th, 1976, 15 men died in the first of 2 explosions at the Scotia mine. 11 more men were killed at the same 2 days later, 11 more men were killed at the same mine. These were metal, non-metal mines, and not protected by the 1969 law, which only applied to coal sites. Congress decided that more needs to be done to end the tragic mining disasters and to provide metal, non-metal miners with the same protections as coal miners. So it enacted the 1977 Federal Mine Safety and Health Act. But there were still 138 metal, non-metal mining fatalities in the United States before this act took effect in March 1978. In the 40 years since then, safety practices continue to evolve, but the fatality rate dropped by more than 90%. Obviously, this act saves lives.
So what has been the focus of the new mining? Just exactly that. The numbers are real. You know, we have cut it down to well more than 90% off. Oh, I want to back that up. Sorry. Okay, now I want to just read you just a little bit of a letter that was written by Chris Williamson. He is the acting director of MSHA. Now, it's not very often that we see an acting director of any industrial process or any big work group like that send out a letter that's personal to the industry. But this guy is young. He's 38 years old. He's dedicated. When he took his job last year, he said, I'm going to eliminate silicosis in my tenure as director of MSHA. I've had people in my family, 3 die of silicosis and 4 die of black lung. He's a West Virginia resident right now, and they've seen it all right here. So he's saying that in 45 years, Congress declared the first priority and concern of everyone in the mining industry was the safety and health of the nation's miners. Is that still true today? 100%. It's not thought, no, we've not lost any of that. And yet, the mine industry has not had the start of the year with 16 miners having one of the most accidents that are common: vehicle collisions, electrocutions, falls from elevated surfaces, equipment rollers, and drowning. Now then, is that acceptable? No. Yet with this letter and all the administration they've got, they have tripled the amount of citations. They have tripled the amount of inspections at mine sites that have gone out there. Has it worked? This time, not to level. The incident rate has dropped by half. This was 16 in 10 weeks of the first part of the year. It's April 14th right here. So far since then, we are now up to 35. So 21 more, 19 more in the interim right there. And they're fairly similar. Machines are taking people's lives. Powered haulage is taking people's lives everywhere. So those are the things that are consistent with our industry. Has it been slowed down? Yes, but the problem with this has nothing to do with the administration, nor with the application there. It's in people's minds. So simple as that. These are single accidents with people taking choices, making bad decisions, and exposing themselves needlessly without training or without any type of supervision. And that's what we're seeing right now. People are willing still, even with all the history we've got, to take chances. And that's what we have to get into people's heads as much as anything else. The numbers would suggest that when we look at underground mining, when we see in 1923, we had 862,000 miners and we killed almost 222,462 of them. And now we turn here in today's world, 10 fatalities, but we've only got 61,000 miners working. So if we cut down the numbers by 90%, yes, fatalities and number, the ratio is not that much different right now, but we've knocked it back down. And yet, even though we have only 61,000 underground miners, we're putting out 4 times as much aggregate. So technology is out there, production is out there. We're doing the job very successfully in every way other than in person's singular mind. The Sunshine Mine disaster in Kellogg, Idaho really put the crux on the employer for safety. And guess what? I am not a fan of that. Personal safety starts with you. And if we can't get into a person's head right there, they should get into another industry, because this is not the one that has a good safe zone away from it. It's big, it's powerful, and it's threatening in every way. And yet have we completely taken away a lot of the hazards we used to see? Yes, we're down to 27 fatalities on the surface. When you take it back there into the 500s and 800s up in here like that, you can see the legal issues. When it happened in 1979 was when we acted, the Mine Act of 677 in here, 308,123 down to 27. So has the rules helped us? Yes, significantly. What it hasn't done is corrected the personal event, the factor. We've got to get into on that. That's what has to be focused on. We're doing really good from years right here. We've had the safest year ever in 2019 at 24 fatalities. Last year was 29, and we've seen them in every state. Luckily in Utah, we've gone 3 years now without a fatality. So we again are one of the safest places in the world to run a mine site. Our statistics this year do not look as favorable. We've had 35 with 27 on the surface and only 8 underground. So is surface mining more dangerous? No question. It is. And state by state, right now, Texas is the leader with the numbers up right there. Utah again has not had any for the 3rd year in a row. So we're holding our own, no question. What we really need to work on is the classifications. Machinery is taking people's lives an outrageous level. Now that is crushers and people falling into things that have zero safeguard for human being. They get in there, the human body cannot tolerate those kind of features, nor can they from powered haulage getting run over by a piece of equipment. Has anybody ever seen the big piece of equipment at Kennecott? You really ought to come out on a tour with us on a Saturday morning sometime if you have the time. It's a wonderful tour. out there, because you get a chance to get next to something that is 5 stories high, carrying 400 tons of material per load. The vehicle and the load count to about 1.185 million pounds running down the road at about 22 miles an hour, and you can barely hear it. It isn't making a lot of noise. It just, the noise just dissipates into the rough material, just like insulation material right here. They are quick, they're nimble, they're absolutely responsible. They're easy to drive, and yet the driver can't see anything in front of them for 62 feet. So if you're within that 62 feet, there's no way of knowing anyway. So what are the critical points of mining? The critical points of mining are simple. These hazards have existed forever. And if people are willing to take a chance, they're going to be encumbered in these type of accidents. It's not going to change. And here, if we can get into people's head to make them safe, and we start out a day by making safe procedures right here, we can eliminate these type of things. Underground, 3 fatalities so far this year, 1 in gold, 3 in coal, 1 in gold, 1 in silver, 1 in crushed stone, for a total of 8. Surface, crushed stone, limestone, coal, kaolin ball clay, sandstone. These stone products are taking the worst part of the year so far this year. All the different stone products are having a very bad year. Construction, sand, and gravel, for the amount of, that is the biggest industry in all of mine. Right there is construction, sand, and gravel, with the amount of people and the amount of material we're using out there. So MSHA, to try to divert the problem, they've created May 17th as a stand down, save lives day, and it'll be a week. They have flyers, they have all kinds of topics, they have posters you can put up here. The posters for the May 17th of this current year are still on MSHA's website. So they are a working partnership right now to try to make this better. And I'm looking so forward to that. December 6th is National Miners Day, and it is the anniversary of the Monongah mine disaster, where 372 of the 378 people there died in one day. Okay, that's not a happy event. It's not something I want to, look forward to. I want positivity, and that's what this is. Sun's coming out, everything's getting warmer, and we're providing everything right here, and you get a chance to stop and look at the things that are going on in the industry. And that right there is one of the most positive things we've done in a long time. Okay, so end of the, I'm gonna have to flash. I'm gonna flash through a few slides right here real quick, because I do have it. Our trends in dust and everything going down. We have less than 1% of out of compliance samples in dust right now on mine sites. So are we doing better? Yep, significantly. Other trends right here, you can see that as we see, mines are starting to shut down slightly over the United States. Why? Because tonnages are going up in relationship to equipment and size. Number of miners is starting to increase for the first time in quite a few years. Right here now, accident frequency. Our industry has a 1.87 accident frequency ratio. Now, what does that mean? Our fatality rates are slightly high for right now in our industry. They're outrageously low for general industry. And now we are so much lower than most industries in our numbers that it's a little bit scary. 1.87 is 1.87 people get hurt for every 200,000 man hours worked. That's our industry. Now, what do other industries have? What is the safest group? The people you guys bring in here with non-coal contractors have a 0.70 accident frequency, right? Which means they know what they're doing, they're good at what they're doing, and they do it well. So knowledge base is a big thing. When we compare us against other industries right here, we're exceptional. To couriers and messengers, air traffic, wood property, performing arts, nursing, residential, animal products, we're still doing, half again better than any of those right here. So are we doing good? Yes. The big mines are getting bigger and they're getting safer. The smaller mines right here are doing process better. And even at the sites where extraction takes place, and by the way, that is a 400-ton haul truck. That's a 200-ton bucket. 2 of them fills it. The tires are 12 feet high. Gives you an idea about size. Okay. So it dwarfs the imagination. And who has right of way on a mine site? Vehicles. People don't have right of way. But does every miner, consistent with the Mine Act of 1977, have stop work authority? 100%. So our industry has put those things out there that we can actually live on. No question about it. We all have stop work authority. We aren't trained. We aren't feeling comfortable. We aren't knowledgeable about the process. Stop. And that's the way to solve the problems. It really is. Take advantage of it. It's as simple as that. Now, are there a lot of different threats about injury in every workplace? There are. Most of them come from what? Lack of training, lack of knowledge base, lack of supervision, or lack of communication. It's always going to be that thing. So here we go. Leave you with a thought today. Every industry can be dangerous, including this.
If you don't mind going first, then we'll step up here on this chair and close your eyes. Everybody feel any of that. And then we're gonna ask you to fall, and then they will catch you. So you have to trust us. I'm gonna count to 3, just relax and fall, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so is communication necessary in any industry? Yes, it is. Keeping it go. Don't give up on anybody. Don't give up on money. It's essential value. It's got all that, those things, values built in. But we have to communicate. And this is the way we do it right here. Get people together one-on-one, talk to the people about what our process is and make them aware this is a substantial industry. It's one worth saving. It's one worth living with. All right. So, but the big thing is simple answer today, go home at the end of your shift. That's number one. You know, between them, you got to do some things or John's not going to have you around the property very often. So you got to gain skills and develop relationships. You got to add company's value. You got to create a better process. Yeah, but equal to all that is not just your safety, but your coworkers. Help people. Talk to them. If you see something wrong, make mention. That's the only way we're going to get on top of it. Simple as that. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me here again.
No trust falls. All right, if you could swap me back over to the other one for me. I don't have a mouse up here. Thanks again, Mike. We appreciate your time and all the great information you provided us. Very interesting stuff, and the size of those sites are quite impressive. Next month we have Kevin Robinson coming up to talk about OSHA record keeping. That's on December 1st, again at 10 a.m. And that's it. So stay safe, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. Oh.
Hey, Mike, I wanted to ask you,